Have you ever been in a situation where you've been working out with a personal trainer? Maybe you have a nutrition coach, a chef. You are doing amazing. You're feeling amazing. You've lost a ton of weight. You are exactly where you wanted to be. But then all of a sudden, the trip to Greece or Italy pops up in your calendar and you freak out. My friend, if that has happened to you or it's about to happen to you, you definitely want to hear what I have to say about traveling and staying on track with your fitness goals while you're on vacation. My friend, this is something that comes up pretty often and I see people super stressed about it, and there's no reason to be stressed. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some of the biggest obstacles that I find when people travel, when people are on airplanes, hotels, maybe delays at the airport, maybe you're jet lagged, maybe you get offered this crazy airplane food where there's nothing but starches and fats and fried food, and you're just like, what am I going to do? This is going to throw me completely off. No worries, I got your back. We're going to be talking about that today. And I want to start off with a story of a girl that was on my program. She was 7 weeks in. She was 19 and a half pounds down. And she actually had to go to Italy. She had this trip scheduled. She had been dreaming and talking about this forever. But she was doing fantastic on our program, and she was freaking out. So she called me and she told me all the reasons why she thought this was going to be a miserable fail for her and how she was going to get through it. And interestingly enough, we set some patterns in place. 3 tips that I'm going to share with you today that I shared with her that allowed her to not only stay on the program, but believe it or not, when she came back, she was 5 pounds down. Now, you're immediately thinking, oh my God, she deprived herself when she was in Italy. Like, how, who does that? And the answer to your question is absolutely not. She actually indulged, but we had a strategy and we had a plan. And that's exactly what I would like to speak with you about today. The number one thing I spoke with her about was being prepared, bringing things with her that she could do in between meals so that number one, she could tame hunger. Number two, that when she went to these restaurants, she wasn't overly hungry and sitting down and having 2 and 3 and 4,000 calories and taking an entire village out with her hunger. And so that's exactly what she did. She brought protein shakes with her. I asked her to bring 2 shakers so that she can put her powder in there, and then she could bring it with her, put it in her backpack, and then maybe stop at a local store, get a bottle of water, mix up her protein powder, and be good to go. That usually buys you an hour and a half to 2 hours before your next meal. I also had her get low sodium beef jerky, a pretty low calorie, and she brought those, she threw those in her backpack, and she ate some of those throughout the course of her sightseeing and all the different things that she was doing while she was in Italy. And then I mentioned that, generally speaking in Europe, breakfast is not the most incredible thing. It's usually the lunches, the dinners that are the most tempting. And so every hotel has eggs. Most hotels have bacon. And so I said, in the morning, what I would like for you to do is have the eggs, have the bacon. In other words, have the protein, have the fats, but just don't do the starches, right? And what I want you to do is I want you to actually plan if you're going to have a big cheat at lunch or at dinner. So on her first outing, she basically decided that she was going to do lunch. She said, I'm going to go all out at lunch. She picked that particular meal that she was going to have. She enjoyed it, and she didn't feel guilty because she planned it. She wrote it out, right? She said, I gave myself permission to do that. And so when I walked away from there, I didn't feel guilty. But what she did next was she backed that up with a good behavior, meaning that in between, she had a protein shake, and then when she went to dinner, she only ate the protein and the fat and completely stayed away from the starches. The very next day, she planned it completely different, right? She indulged at dinner time, and then she kind of skipped out on the starches and the things like that spike a ton of insulin at lunchtime. And so it worked out in a fantastic way for her. Number 2, I want to talk to you about mindset. And this was one of the things that was very, very clear. I said, it doesn't need to be a free fall. We need to plan the specific meals where we're going to cheat, right? So that we're okay with ourselves, so that we can walk away from it and our conscience is clean. We know that we chose to do that. That was our decision to do that. And there's something very empowering about actually allowing yourself to do something versus reactively, just reacting to your environment and then actually walking away from that and feeling guilty about it. So we plan her cheats. She had confidence in herself because she was respecting the things that she said she was going to do. And her reasons for being on this program, on our program, were pretty high. She had some pretty big whys on why she wanted to get healthy. For her in particular, it was a health scare. So her standards were very, very high. She followed through, and that's exactly what I would tell you. Alongside your mindset needs to be a very strong why. If you don't have a strong why for doing this, my friend, you're going to fall off quickly, because we only do things that are important to us, that mean something to us. And if it's simply to get on a nutrition plan or work with a trainer because you're trying to meet a metric, because you're trying to look a certain way, which, by the way, that is valid as well. That's a valid reason. But the problem with that reason is that generally those types of goals don't hold up, right? Motivation wavers very quickly. Maybe you hit the goal, and then how do you measure your success, right? So you want to make sure that you look for more intrinsic things that are actually, just propelling you every day to do the things that you need to do. And so this helps with mindset, because you start to think about food very differently. You start to think of your activities very differently. So number 2 being mindset. Number 3, I truly believe that motion creates emotion, that behavior shifts our identity. So one of the things I said to my client was, when you wake up first thing in the morning, I want you to be physical. I want you to activate your physiology, whether you go out for a walk, a jog, or maybe you do in your room, you do some jumping jacks, some squats, some lunges, some push-ups. You want to make sure you move, because what happens when you actually do even a 15-minute workout, right? Maybe a 10-minute, maybe you only have 10 minutes, right? You do a 10-minute workout, that shifts your identity for the rest of the day, because now when you sit down to eat, you're more cognizant, you're more conscious of what you're eating, and you're going to bring better nutrients in just based on the fact that you had a successful morning where you worked out for 10 or 15 minutes. My friends, there are the 3 tips for traveling and staying super fit while you do so. You can still eat your delicious food, you can still enjoy it, and when you come back home, you don't have to skip out on any of those amazing results that you had obtained with your trainer or your nutrition coach. My friend, this was a video on traveling and staying fit while doing so. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Hit the bell notification so that every time we release information like this, you will be the first one to know. My friends, my name is JT Tapias, professional fitness life coach, and I enjoy speaking about things that edify the mind, the body, and the spirit from a Christian perspective. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.